Okay, let's start this over again. I'll be as quick as I can. This is day 16 of our study here in the United States. We're going to continue this for about another 15, 20 days. Then we'll be taking some honey off of this, send for analysis, and it'll determine whether or not our bees are putting the erythritol inside the honey that they're making. And we're only going to take 1/2 a stack for analysis. So, the Mellifera make the majority of the honey in the first honey flow in early spring and early summer. And the honey that they're making now will be used, for their winter survival. So, the pollen that you see coming in here, it's probably goldenrod. Now, I don't smell anything. Now, goldenrod, you can eat it, but it's got a real funny smell to it. So that's not the kind of honey that you want to eat. You want to take the good honey that comes off during the first flow. And that's the honey that comes from the sourwood tree, that comes from the maple trees. The first trees that'll bloom and the first honey batch that you're going to get in the spring generally be from the maple tree, because the maple blooms first, so and puts out pollen first. So your bees will go to the maples, and the first batch of honey that you get will be maple, and then it'll be the sourwood or whatever other kind of trees are close to you, generally sourwood. So you'll see that these bees are bringing in lots of pollen right now. That's the pollen that they're going to be they're using right now to make their honey and to build hive and comb for the winter stores, because it gets cold and then they do build winter stores. What I'm going to do this morning, for the next 10 days, we're going to hyperfeed this hive. I mean, I'm going to give them as much of this stuff as the encapsulated erythritol that they'll take in, and I'm going to load this tray up, and I want them to take in as much as they can and save them as much labor and work as I can, so that they don't have to go out and forage. So, this morning I'm going to put about 20 grams of bee food on a tray. I'll put it to the side. I like to use that black cap. It's easier for me to use. And to sprinkle the stuff in there. You'll see them. I'm going to let this thing run for a while. Oh yeah, you can see in the inside there, they're really grabbing that stuff. And, you know, they'll probably beard up later on the other side of this stuff. Oh yeah, they're grabbing all kind of this. It's neat to just stand here and watch them put that stuff in their pollen sacs. Now, what you want to do, you want to look at these bees. You can tell which ones are getting old, because the drones and some of the workers will use their second. They'll lock their second set of legs in behind the other legs and fly, and that puts a lot of stress on the wings. So you can tell which one of your bees, pretty much, if they're sick or not. This time of year with the Mellifera, it all depends on your queen. If you've got a healthy queen and you think that queen can get you through the winter, then keep the queen. But if not, now's the time in August, first, second week of August, you need to open up your hive, inspect your hive, and if that queen looks weak, you might want to consider replacing the queen. Now, you probably had the queen a long time and it's been good to you, produced a lot of honey, but when replacing a queen, you have to think in terms of saving the hive as opposed to saving the queen. Okay, without a good queen over the winter to keep producing brood, you're not going to have, you'll lose the hive. So, you want to make sure you've got a healthy queen to get you through the winter. Also, a sure sign of a sick queen will be infestation of the moth, of the wax moth. If you've got wax moths, okay, that means you've got a sick queen, because if you've got a healthy queen, she puts off a pheromone, and the wax moth can smell that pheromone, and the wax moth won't come near your hive. It won't come near your hive because it can smell the pheromone. And when it can smell the pheromone, it knows that that queen is producing strong brood and soldier bees, that if it tries to come in there and lay eggs and stuff, the soldier bees will just, it can't get in the hive. So a sure sign of a sick queen is if you start finding moth larvae up inside of the top of your hive. You find any moth larvae, you see, and those are the things that get in there and start spinning and ruin your hive. So the sign of a sick queen is infestation from the moth. That means your queen's sick, so you got to replace that queen right away. And it's natural for these bees to beard up, and it's good for them. When you see the bees like Joy had seen them the other day, how they had bearded up, and we took pictures of that, that means your queen's healthy. So we know our queen's healthy. Our queen's about 3 months old, and she's a Carniolan. And the guys that gave me these bees, they own the bee farm up in not Brushy Mountain, but Beech Mountain Bee Farm. And these guys are real proud of their bees, and they've got really good product too. So, and we're going to go up. I was with Sam Corey last night, and we're going to go and spend some time with those folks, and I'm going to give a presentation up at the Watauga County Beekeepers Association here in October. So in a couple of months we'll go up there. I'll be their last presentation, and I'll be talking about this project and the project that we did over in Malaysia as well. And I can see my bees are really uptaking this stuff. Oh yeah. Yeah. One just came and tasted it and started to leave and came back, and it filled up its pollen sacs and went back in the hive. So this is good. So we're going to hyperfeed them. Every day I'm going to come out and give them a bunch more of this stuff. Today's going to be a really, really hot day, so they're going to make a lot of honey today. They're going to make a lot of honey. This is probably going to be one of our hottest days of the year. So our bees are going to make a lot of honey. Also, pay attention to your drones. If you've got a lot of drones, that means you got a weak queen. You want to have a fair representation. You know, what you want is the workers. You want the workers who's going to make the honey. The drones, you know, they just hang around and say, hey, feed me. Okay, well, that's no good. And they eat honey. You know, so they're takers. They're not, you know, really contributors. So you want to make sure that you got a healthy queen, you know, for the winter. Okay, I'm going to shut this off, and that's good representation for this morning. Okay.